sky was dark and broken, smoke rose from the ground, and the air smelled of fire and metal. All around the battlefield, machines were silent, bodies lay still, and the ruins of alien towers glowed with red cracks. It was a place where war had ended, but the silence was louder than the battle itself. A human soldier walked slowly through the wreckage. His armor was scratched, his helmet broken, and his face tired from too many nights without sleep. He had seen battles before, but this land felt different. It was not victory, and it was not defeat. It was something in between, a graveyard of two worlds. He stopped often, looking left and right. He was searching for movement, searching for life, but everywhere he looked, he found only silence. The war between humans and aliens had lasted many years. Now on this planet, it seemed both sides had lost. The soldier pushed aside broken metal. He thought he heard a sound, soft, almost like a whisper. He followed it carefully, his weapon ready. The sound came again, faint, weak, but full of fear. Behind a fallen wall, he found her, a small child, not human, not soldier, just a little girl with glowing blue skin and silver hair. Her eyes were large, shining like stars in the night. She looked at him, trembling, holding her knees close to her chest. The soldier lowered his weapon. He had expected an enemy, but instead he saw innocence. She looked so small in the ruins, like a flower in the ashes. Her lips moved, and in a broken voice she spoke, "Will you be my father?" The soldier froze. The words struck him harder than any bullet. He had no answer, no plan, no idea why this child would say such a thing. He only knew that her voice was filled with trust, with hope, with fear. He slowly knelt down. His heart beat fast, not from danger, but from something deeper. He thought of Earth, of his own family, of the children who had died in the war. He thought of promises broken, of soldiers lost, of lives wasted. The little girl reached out her hand. Her fingers were thin, shaking, but she wanted him to take it. Her eyes begged for safety, begged for love, begged for something more than war. The soldier hesitated, but then, with a deep breath, he held her hand. The moment felt unreal. In the middle of death and ruins, a bond had been born. She smiled, just a little, but it was enough to light the darkness around them. The soldier knew from that instant that his life had changed, but danger was close. He could hear the distant sound of ships in the sky. He knew patrols would come soon, both human and alien. If they found the girl, they would not show mercy. He lifted her gently, carrying her in his arms. She leaned her head against his chest, whispering again, "Father." The word cut through him, filling his heart with both pain and strength. He had never been called that before. Not in such a way, not in such a place. Step by step, he moved through the ruins. Every shadow seemed alive. Every sound felt like a threat. The girl stayed quiet, but her eyes never left him. It was as if she believed completely that he would protect her. The soldier's mind raced. Why was she here, alone, alive, when all others were dead? Why had she chosen him, a human soldier, to be her father? What secret was hidden in her small body, in her glowing eyes? The battlefield gave no answers. The broken machines were silent. The alien towers whispered only with the wind, but the soldier felt something, a truth he could not yet see. This child was not ordinary. She was important, too important to leave behind. His steps grew faster, his eyes sharp. He would not let anyone take her, not soldiers, not generals, not even his own people. He did not know why, but he knew it was right. Something inside told him that humanity's future was in this moment, in this child. Behind him, the fires burned brighter. Above him, the ships drew closer. Ahead of him, only shadows waited, but he kept walking, holding her close. Her little voice echoed in his heart. "Will you be my father?" And though he did not speak, though he did not yet understand, he knew the answer. He would stay by her side, whatever the cost. The soldier walked deeper into the ruins, carrying the little girl close to his chest. The fires behind them faded, but the silence ahead grew heavier. Every step he took felt like stepping into the unknown. He did not know where safety was, but he knew danger was everywhere. The girl clung to him, her small fingers holding his armor as if she feared letting go. Her glowing eyes watched him with trust, even though she had only just met him. That trust made him uneasy, yet it also gave him strength. It had been a long time since anyone had looked at him that way. When he finally stopped to rest, he placed her on a broken stone block. She sat quietly, watching the shadows, her silver hair shining faintly under the cracked sky. He removed his helmet, revealing a face tired and scarred by war. The girl tilted her head and studied him, as if trying to read his soul. "Why did you call me father?" he asked softly. Her voice was small, almost like the wind. "Because you stayed." The soldier did not understand at first, but her words carried weight. Perhaps everyone else had left her, abandoned her, or feared her, but he had not, and for her, that was enough. The bond grew in silence. He offered her food from his pack, though it was rough and tasteless. She accepted it with a smile, chewing slowly, as if even the smallest kindness meant everything. For the first time in years, the soldier felt human again. No, to just a weapon, he felt like someone who could care, someone who could protect. Night fell, and the ruins became even darker. The soldier made a small fire with broken scraps. The girl sat beside him, her eyes reflecting the flames. She began to hum softly, a tune he did not recognize. The sound was strange but calming, like a lullaby from another world. "Where are your people?" he asked. Her humming stopped, and she lowered her head. "They are gone," she whispered. The soldier felt the weight of her words. Gone could mean dead, or captured, or lost forever. Whatever the truth, she was alone now, and he was all she had. He looked at her again and saw more than just a child. There was something in her, something powerful yet fragile. Her skin glowed faintly when she touched the firelight. Her eyes seemed to hold more knowledge than a child should have. He realized she was not only different, but important, too important to leave behind. As the night stretched on, the soldier kept watch while she slept. He noticed the way her breathing slowed, the way her small body relaxed in trust. He remembered the countless nights he had guarded empty camps, waiting for enemies. But this was different. Now he guarded something pure, something worth more than victory. When dawn arrived, the world was still broken, but the girl's laughter brought light. She found small flowers pushing through cracks in the stone. She showed them to him, smiling as if she had discovered treasure. The soldier had forgotten what joy looked like, but in her smile, he saw it clearly. Together, they walked farther into the ruins. The girl began to ask questions, simple ones about Earth, about the stars, about the oceans. He answered in simple words, telling her about blue skies, green fields, and gentle rains. Her eyes shone with wonder, as if Earth was a dream she wanted to see. In her questions, he found himself speaking of hope again, something he thought had died in him long ago, but the bond came with danger. The soldier noticed signs of patrols, tracks in the dust, signals in the sky. Both human and alien forces were searching. They were not searching for survivors. They were searching for her. The soldier realized then that she was not only a child, she was the reason both sides would fight again. Still, he did not turn away. He knew the risk, but he could not abandon her. When she reached for his hand, he held it firmly. When she called him father again, he did not correct her. He accepted the title, even if he had never asked for it. That night, as they hid inside a broken tower, the girl pressed her head against his chest. "You are different," she whispered. "Different?" he asked. "You do not see me as a weapon," she said, her eyes closing slowly. "You see me as family." Her words burned in his heart. He had followed orders his whole life, fighting for duty, for command, for survival. But for the first time, he was fighting for something real, for someone real. As she drifted to sleep, the soldier made a silent promise. He would protect her no matter what, not for orders, not for glory, not for the war, but because she was his child now, even if only by choice. And in that bond, he found a new purpose. The stars above the broken sky shone faintly, the fire burned low, and the ruins whispered with the wind. But inside that tower, a soldier and a child had created something the war could not destroy. They had created family. The morning began with silence, but the soldier knew peace would not last. The child walked beside him, her small hand wrapped in his, her silver hair glowing in the weak light. She smiled at the little things she found among the ruins, broken glass that sparkled, faded flowers that still grew. But the soldier's eyes were fixed on the horizon, sharp, watchful, always searching for danger. He noticed signs that others were close, boot prints in the dust, strange signals etched into stone, broken machines humming faintly. As if waiting for commands, it meant patrols were near, searching, hunting, and he knew they were not looking for him. They were looking for her. The girl stopped suddenly, her glowing eyes wide with fear. She pointed to the sky and the soldier followed her gaze. Dark shapes moved between the clouds, patrol ships circling like predators above their prey. The soldier pulled her close, pressing her against the wall of a ruined building. He whispered, "Stay quiet." And she nodded, holding her breath. A beam of light scanned the ground, moving slowly across the broken city. The soldier kept still, his heart racing, his body tense. The beam passed over the ruins but did not find them. For now, they were safe, but he knew the hunt had begun. They moved quickly after that, running through alleys, stepping carefully over broken steel. The soldier guided her with steady hands, his eyes always ahead, always listening for footsteps behind them. The girl did not cry, she did not complain, she trusted him completely, but he could see the fear in her eyes, the way her small body shook when the ships roared above. By midday, the chase grew closer. Voices echoed through the ruins, both human and alien. Two armies who hated each other were now searching for the same thing. The child was not just a lost girl. She was something more, something both sides wanted to control. The soldier did not know why, but he felt it in his bones. She was important, too important to fall into their hands. So he made his choice. He would fight both sides if he had to. He would keep her safe, even if the whole world turned against him. They reached an old transport tunnel, half buried under stone. The soldier led her inside. The air was damp, the walls cracked, but it offered cover. He lit a small torch and guided her through the darkness. The girl walked close, her little hand never leaving his, but they were not alone. The soldier heard the sound of metal boots, sharp and heavy, echoing through the tunnel. He quickly pressed the girl behind him, raising his weapon. Shadows moved ahead, armored figures with glowing visors, human soldiers. And from behind, another sound grew, alien voices clicking and hissing. They were trapped, hunted from both ends. The soldier's mind raced. He could not fight them all, not with her so close. The girl looked up at him, her eyes full of trust, and whispered, "Father, what do we do?" The word gave him strength. He whispered back, "We run." He threw his torch into the shadows. The light burst and distracted the soldiers for a moment. Then he lifted her in his arms and dashed into a side passage. Blaster fire filled the tunnel. Sparks rained down. The air burned with smoke. But he kept running, his boots pounding the stone, his heart beating like thunder. The girl held on tightly, her face buried against his chest. He could feel her shaking, but she did not scream. Instead, she whispered something, soft, in a language he did not know. Her body glowed faintly, and suddenly the air around them shimmered. The blasts that had been chasing them bent away, missing their path. The soldier realized she had saved them, even if only for a moment. He reached an opening at the end of the tunnel, stumbling into the daylight. Behind him, voices shouted, weapons fired, but they were still alive. The soldier placed her down gently and looked at her. Her glowing eyes were filled with tears, but also strength. "You protected me," he whispered. She shook her head. "No, we protected other." The soldier knew now that the chase would not end. As long as she lived, armies would hunt her. But he also knew that together they could survive. She was not just a burden, she was powerful. And with her, he felt stronger than ever before. They kept moving, deeper into the ruins, away from the patrols. The soldier thought about what lay ahead. He could not return to his people, not with her. He could not trust the aliens, not with her. The only path left was their own. A path of shadows, running, fighting, surviving. That night, as they hid in the shell of a broken tower, the soldier sat awake, watching the horizon. The girl leaned against him, her voice soft. "Why do they chase me?" He had no answer, not yet, but he promised, "I will find out." Her small hand reached for his, and in the darkness, he swore to himself, no matter how far the chase went, no matter how many enemies came, he would never let them take her. And in that vow, the bond between soldier and child grew stronger, not just father and daughter, not just protector and innocent, but two souls against the world. The chase had begun, and there was no turning back. The ruins grew quieter as the soldier and the child pressed deeper into the forgotten city. The chase had slowed, the enemy patrols scattered, but he knew they were never far behind. The girl walked beside him, her silver hair glowing faintly in the dim light, her small hand gripping his with quiet trust. He had saved her from death, and she had saved him from blaster fire, and now their bond was stronger than ever. The soldier searched for a place to rest, a place where the enemy would not find them. His eyes caught a strange shape among the broken towers. It was an entrance carved into black stone, half buried in rubble, glowing faintly with strange symbols. The girl's eyes widened when she saw it, and she whispered in awe, "This is my people's place." The soldier felt a chill. He had seen alien ruins before, but this was different, older, more powerful. The walls pulsed faintly with blue light, as if alive. He carried the girl inside, the air cool and heavy, the silence thick with mystery. Inside the chamber, broken pillars lined the floor, and carvings glowed softly on the walls. The girl moved with wonder, touching the symbols with her small fingers. This was where they prayed, where they kept the heart, she whispered. The soldier frowned. The heart? Her glowing eyes turned to him, filled with sadness. The heart of my people, the crystal that gave us life. The soldier watched as she knelt before a shattered altar, her hands pressed against the stone, and her body glowed brighter. In that moment, he understood. She was connected to this place, to something larger than he could imagine. Her presence awakened the ruins, and the walls began to hum with energy. The soldier felt the ground tremble slightly. The broken altar lit up, revealing fragments of a large crystal glowing faintly as if alive. The girl touched the pieces, and tears filled her eyes. "It is broken," she whispered. "Without it, my people cannot return. Without it, I will fade." Her words struck him like a blade. She was not only a child who needed protection, she was a child who was dying. The soldier clenched his fists, anger burning inside him. He had fought wars for orders, for flags, for commanders, but never had he felt such purpose as now. He could not let her fade, not after she had called him father. The girl looked up at him, her eyes glowing brighter. "There is a way," she said softly. "If I touch the crystal, it will share its power with me. But the power is not enough. I need a guardian. I need someone who will stay." The soldier felt his chest tighten. She was asking him to stand not only as protector, but as part of something. Larger, something sacred. He nodded slowly, his voice steady. "I will stay." The girl placed her hands on the broken crystal, and her body shone with a soft light. Energy flowed through the room. The carvings on the walls pulsed like living veins. The soldier felt heat and pressure, his armor humming as if reacting to her power. Her small body trembled, but she did not let go. The broken crystal glowed brighter, feeding her strength. Her skin shimmered, her silver hair lifted as if carried by unseen winds. The soldier shielded her with his arms, keeping her safe from the falling dust. And then, in a burst of light, the crystal cracked again, sending a shockwave through the chamber. The soldier staggered, but kept his footing. The girl collapsed into his arms, her body glowing faintly but weaker than before. Her breathing was shallow, her small voice trembling. "It gave me some strength, but not all. The heart is broken. It cannot heal me completely." The soldier held her tighter, whispering, "Then we will find a way. I will not let you fade." The chamber grew quiet once more, but the soldier felt eyes on him. He raised his weapon, scanning the shadows. From the darkness, a figure stepped forward, cloaked in black, with glowing symbols etched into its armor. A human, but not a soldier like him. An agent. A seeker. The man's voice was cold. "So, you found her. The child of the crystal, the last of her kind." The soldier aimed his weapon, his voice hard. "Stay back." But the cloaked man only smiled. "You don't understand. She is not just a child. She is the key. With her power, we can control both worlds, human and alien alike." The soldier felt the girl clutch his arm tightly, her eyes filled with fear. He knew then that betrayal was close, that not even his own people could be trusted. The cloaked man raised his hand, and soldiers stepped from the shadows, their weapons ready. The soldier pulled the girl behind him, his voice steady. "You will not take her." The chamber walls glowed brighter, the crystal fragments pulsing as if responding to the child's fear. The girl's voice echoed softly. "Father, they want the heart, but the heart chose me." The soldier's grip tightened on his weapon. He stood tall, facing enemies from his own kind, enemies who had once been his brothers. But now, his path was clear. He was no longer fighting for war, no longer fighting for command. He was fighting for her, for the secret she carried, for the bond that made them family. The ruins whispered with ancient power. The crystal fragments glowed with hidden strength. And in that moment, the soldier knew one truth. Protecting her would not only save her life, it might save humanity itself. The chamber glowed faintly as the soldier stood in front of the girl, his weapon aimed, his body tense, every breath sharp and ready. The cloaked man smiled coldly, his soldiers forming a circle around them, their visors glowing red in the dim light. The girl clung to the soldier's arm, her little voice trembling. "They want me, father." The soldier lowered his stance, ready for a fight, but the cloaked man raised a hand, stopping his troops. "You misunderstand," he said calmly. "We are not here to kill you. We are here to take care of the child, to give her a future. You cannot do this alone." The soldier's eyes narrowed. He had heard promises like this before, promises that turned into chains. The cloaked man stepped closer, his voice smooth. "Think about it. You are tired, hunted by both sides. She is not safe with you. Give her to us. We will protect her. We will make her strong." The soldier looked down at the girl, her glowing eyes staring at him with trust. He remembered her words, "You stayed," and he knew at that moment that he would never hand her over. "No," the soldier said, his voice like steel. The cloaked man's smile faded, his eyes cold as ice. "Then you are a traitor," he hissed. "You betray your people, your orders, your own kind, all for an alien child." The soldier did not flinch. He only said, "She is my child now." The silence cracked. and in an instant the chamber exploded with movement. The soldiers raised their weapons. Beams of light fired through the air. The soldier pulled the girl behind the broken altar, shielding her with his body, firing back with deadly precision. The chamber shook, the crystal fragments glowing brighter as if feeding on the chaos. The girl's voice cried out, her body glowing faintly, her hands pressed to the stone. The crystal responded, sending waves of light that pushed back the attackers. Some soldiers stumbled, blinded by the sudden force. The cloaked man shouted, "Control her! Do not let her escape!" The soldier fought fiercely, his training guiding every shot, but he was only one man, and they were many. He felt heat on his shoulder as a blast tore through his armor, burning his skin. Still he stood, gritting his teeth, firing again, refusing to fall. The girl reached for him, her little hands shaking. "Father, stop! You are hurt!" But he shook his head. "No, I will not let them take you." Her tears glowed as they fell on the stone, and the crystal pulsed brighter. The walls trembled, the carvings lit up like fire, and a deep hum filled the chamber. Suddenly, one of the soldiers lowered his weapon. A familiar voice called out, "Wait, it's me!" The soldier turned, his eyes widening. It was his old comrade, a brother in arms he had fought beside many times. For a moment, hope flickered. Perhaps not everyone had turned against him. "Come with us," the comrade urged. "I can keep her safe. I can protect you both, but you must trust me." The soldier hesitated, his weapon lowered slightly. The girl looked up at him, her small voice uncertain. "Do you trust him?" His soldier's heart twisted. He wanted to believe, he wanted to trust. But then he saw it, a shadow of greed in the comrade's eyes, a hunger not for protection but for power. He realized too late, the betrayal ran deeper than he thought. The comrade's voice sharpened. "She belongs to us. She is the key. Hand her over and I might let you live." The soldier's grip tightened, his anger burning like fire. "You are no brother of mine." The fight resumed, fiercer than before. The cloaked man shouted commands. The soldiers pressed forward, and the comrade himself drew a blade. The soldier met him in combat, steel against steel, the clash echoing through the chamber. The girl screamed, her voice filled with terror, and the crystal shook as if it felt her pain. The battle raged, every strike heavier than the last. The soldier's body was tired, his wounds deep, but he fought with something stronger than rage. He fought with love, with the bond that tied him to the child. The comrade mocked him. "All this for her? She is not even human." The soldier struck back, his voice a roar. "She is more human than you." At that moment, the girl's power flared. Her body shone with pure light. Her small hands lifted, and the crystal fragments rose into the air. A wave of energy burst from her, throwing soldiers back, shattering their weapons. The cloaked man staggered, his cloak torn, his eyes wide with shock. The chamber shook violently, dust falling from the ceiling. The girl collapsed, drained, her glow fading to a soft shimmer. The soldier caught her in his arms, holding her close, whispering, "I have you. I will never let go." The cloaked man glared, his voice venomous. "This is not the end. She cannot hide forever, and neither can you." The enemy retreated into the shadows, but the soldier knew they would return. He held the girl tightly, his heart heavy with the taste of betrayal. He had lost brothers, lost trust, but gained something far greater. And he had gained a reason to fight, not for war, not for orders, but for her. The ruins grew silent once more. The crystals glowed dimming, but the soldier knew the truth. The world would never stop hunting them. The betrayal had marked them, but their bond had made them unbreakable. And as long as he drew breath, no one would take her away. The ruins shook with silence after the battle. Dust floated through the air, the broken chamber glowing faintly with the last light of the shattered crystal. The soldier held the girl close, his body aching, his armor cracked, his breath heavy. She was weak in his arms, her glow dim, but her small heart still beat with quiet strength. For a moment, he allowed himself to believe they had survived. But deep inside, he knew it was not over. The enemy would return, stronger, more determined. They had seen her power, and now they would stop at nothing to claim it. He carried her out of the chamber, stepping into the ruins above. The sky burned red with the glow of distant ships. Engines roared in the distance. The hunt had not ended. It had only begun again. The soldier's jaw tightened, his eyes fixed. If they wanted her, they would have to go through him. The girl stirred weakly in his arms, her voice soft. "Father, they are coming." He nodded. "I know," his voice steady. "But they will not take you, not while I stand." She looked into his eyes, tears glowing faintly on her cheeks. "You will not leave me?" He pressed his forehead to hers, whispering, "Never." The first wave came swiftly, human soldiers dropping from ships, armored, armed, moving like machines. Behind them, alien hunters crept through the shadows, their weapons sharp, their eyes burning with hunger. Two armies, once enemies, now united in greed, surrounding one child and one man. The soldier placed the girl gently behind the cover of broken stone. "Stay low," he told her. "Do not move until I call you." Her little hands gripped his sleeve, reluctant to let go, but she obeyed. He stood tall, weapon in hand, facing an army alone. The battle began with fire. Blasts tore through the ruins, sparks raining down, stone crumbling, air shaking. The soldier moved like a shadow, striking fast, every shot precise. His body screamed with pain, but his heart roared with purpose. The enemies pressed forward, their numbers endless, but the soldier fought as if he carried an army within him. He thought of her voice, her trust, her calling him father. Every strike was for her. Every step was to keep her safe. Still, they pushed harder. The cloaked man returned, his eyes burning with fury. "You cannot stop this," he shouted. "She belongs to us. Her power belongs to the future of war." The soldier fired back, his voice steady. "She belongs to no one." The girl peeked from behind the stone, her small body trembling. She saw him bleeding, fighting, standing against endless enemies. Tears filled her glowing eyes, and she pressed her little hands to the ground. The crystal fragments around the ruins shimmered faintly, answering her call. The soldier fell to one knee, his strength fading. Blades and fire surrounded him, the enemy closing in. The cloaked man raised his weapon for the final strike, but then the air exploded with light. The girl screamed, not in fear, but in power. Her body shone like a star, her voice echoing through the ruins. "Enough!" she cried, and the ground itself trembled. Energy surged from her small frame, lifting dust, stone, and fire into the air. The soldiers staggered, blinded, their weapons powerless. The aliens hissed in fear, retreating from her light. The cloaked man shielded his eyes, his voice breaking with rage. "You cannot control it. You will burn yourself." But the girl stood tall, her silver hair flying, her small body shining with the strength of generations. She walked toward the soldier, her tiny hands reaching for him. He looked at her through blood and smoke, his vow, "Ice Week, stay back. You will hurt yourself." But she shook her head, tears glowing down her cheeks. "We protect each other." Her hands touched his armor, and warmth filled his broken body. The soldier felt strength return, wounds closing, pain fading. The girl had given him her light, not all of it, but enough to stand again. He rose to his feet, his weapon glowing faintly in the shimmer of her power. Together they faced the army, father and child, protector and chosen. The final stand was no longer his alone. It was theirs, side by side. The enemies rushed again, but this time the ruins themselves fought back. The crystal fragments pulsed, the ground shook, the light spread like fire. The soldier struck with renewed fury, guided by her strength. The girl's glow shielded them both, bending blasts away, turning darkness into fire. Every enemy that came forward fell back, unable to break their bond. The cloaked man roared, "This is not over," as he retreated into the shadows. When the dust settled, silence returned to the ruins. The soldier stood, his chest heaving, his weapon lowered, his body marked with scars but alive. The girl leaned against him, her glow dim but steady, her voice soft. "We did not fall." He looked down at her, his hand resting gently on her head. "No, we did not." They had survived the storm, but the war was not finished. The final stand was only the beginning of something greater. Armies would rise again, enemies would return, but together they had proven one truth. They were not weak, they were not alone, and as long as he lived, he would stand by her side. The ruins were broken, but within them, hope had been born. Not just the hope of survival, but the hope of something new. A soldier and a child, bonded not by blood but by choice, standing against the world, ready for whatever came next. The battlefield was quiet at last. The broken ruins still smoked, the air heavy with dust, yet for the first time, there was peace. The soldier stood tall, his body scarred but unbroken, the girl leaning gently against him, her glow soft but steady. They had survived the chase, the betrayal, and the final stand, and now only silence remained. The girl lifted her head, her silver hair falling across her face, her glowing eyes looking up at him. Her voice was soft but clear. "Father, why do they hate us so much?" The soldier knelt beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. "Because they do not understand," he said, his voice steady. "They fear what they cannot control." She was quiet for a moment, then whispered, "Will they come back?" The soldier looked to the horizon where dark shapes moved faintly in the clouds. "Yes," he admitted. "They will never stop, not until they take you, not until they destroy what you carry." Her little hand slipped into his, trembling. Then what do we do? He squeezed her hand firmly. We show them something stronger than fear. As night fell, the stars shone through the broken sky. The girl gazed upward, her eyes wide with wonder. Are those the stars of your home? The soldier nodded slowly. Yes, those are Earth's stars. I have not seen them like this in many years. Her voice carried hope. One day, will you take me there? He smiled faintly, a rare smile born from pain and love. Yes, one day, I will. But even as he spoke, the ruins stirred. The crystal fragments, broken and scattered, began to glow again, faint but alive. The girl's eyes widened. It is calling me. The soldier tensed, ready for danger, but her voice was gentle. No, not danger. It wants to speak. She stepped forward, her small feet echoing softly against the stone. Her hands touched the glowing fragments, and light spread across the ground, symbols. Carved into the walls lit up one by one until the entire ruin was alive with shimmering energy. The soldier shielded his eyes, watching as the child's glow merged with the crystal's power. A vision filled the chamber, not of war, but of peace. He saw alien and human children laughing together. He saw hands reaching across stars. He saw a world without hatred. The girl's voice echoed, but it was not only hers. It was many voices, a chorus from across time. Humanity is more than war. Humanity is love. The soldier's heart pounded, his breath caught. He had fought battles all his life, but never had he seen something so pure. The girl turned back to him, her glowing eyes filled with tears. Do you see, Father? This is what they are afraid of. Not destruction, but hope. He nodded slowly, his voice breaking. Yes, I see. Outside, the sky roared as ships drew near. The armies had returned, human and alien both, ready to claim what they believed was theirs. But when they reached the ruins, they stopped. For standing at the center of the glowing chamber was the child, shining brighter than ever, her hand held by the soldier. The soldiers raised their weapons, but hesitation filled the air. The girl's light touched them, not with fire, but with warmth. They felt her heart, her trust, her innocence, and many lowered their weapons, unsure. Even hardened soldiers found themselves shaken, their orders clashing with the truth before their eyes. The cloaked man appeared once more, his voice sharp. Do not be fooled. She is a weapon. She will destroy us all. But the soldier stepped forward, his voice carrying through the ruins. No, she is not a weapon. She is a child, and she carries the hope of two worlds. The girl's glow flared brighter, her small voice ringing out. I am not war. I am family. I am light. The ruins trembled, the crystal fragments rose high, and beams of light shot into the sky. The clouds parted, the stars shone brighter, and for a moment the world felt new. The soldier stood by her side, his hand never leaving hers. He whispered so only she could hear, whatever happens, we face it together. She smiled, her little voice soft. Together. The armies wavered, caught between fear and wonder. Some stepped back, unwilling to fight, others lowered their weapons completely. The cloaked man cursed, retreating into the shadows, his fury swallowed by the light, and as his figure vanished, the battlefield grew silent once more. The soldier lifted the girl into his arms, her body warm, her glow soft. She leaned against him, her voice gentle. Did we win? He looked to the horizon where the stars shone like promises. For now, he said softly, but the war is not finished, The small arms wrapped around his neck. Then we will finish it together. He walked into the night, carrying her as the ruins glowed behind them. Each step forward was heavy but filled with purpose. He was no longer a soldier of war, no longer a weapon of command. He was a father, and with her by his side, he carried the light of humanity. And though the world would still hunt them, though danger would rise again, their bond had become something unbreakable. A soldier's vow, a child's hope, a love that burned brighter than war. This was humanity's light, and it would never fade.